Today on Toys of the Jedi, we're going to be catching up with a little bit of stuff that we've missed over the last couple of weeks. We've been a bit busy, but also looking to pick up on what's gone on day one of Star Wars Celebration. Now, like I say, backtracking to some of the stuff that we've missed recently, yakface.com have been incredibly busy, and we'll cover all the news that they've been releasing so far. So as you can see, there were some lovely loose and carded images of Wave 6 of the Vintage Collection. This includes Chewbacca and Lando Calrissian. We just go to those individually. So first up is the Chewbacca on a Star Wars card. Now, one of the things that's been pointed out here is actually this is a Return of the Jedi style Chewbacca that's actually on the card there, shown better in this picture here. This one was actually released quite a long time ago, 2004 I believe initially this mold is from, so not the best choice for this. However, some of the photos from the Hasbro booth, which we'll get to later, looks like this was just a bit of a packaging faux pas, and actually we'll get the proper Black Series Chewbacca with the slick back hair on this card backer, but like I said, we'll cover that in a little while. Next up was the Lando Calrissian figure. Now this is a lovely card back. You can see there the Lando from the Sabat game in Solo. Looks like a fantastic figure. When you get in nice and close there on the figure itself, you can see it's got the face printing deco. Plenty of articulation. Can't wait to get my hands on this figure. The third figure in this wave is what's supposed to be the ultimate Stormtrooper. Looks very nice on the Rogue One card, and I imagine at some point down the road they will re-release him on a Star Wars card to make him part of that first 12 figures that we got back in 1977. Now the figure itself, it does utilise the Rogue One helmet from the 5POA line, along with a all-new Stormtrooper body. Looks absolutely fantastic. Again, can't wait to get hold of this one. Captain Phasma is a re-release of the Black Series line version, again 3.75 scale, but actually does look very nice on the vintage style card back. I'm glad they've chosen the Force Awakens style card there. Very good image. I'm going to still be picking up one of these to keep carded. I do have the Black Series one, which will do for my my loose one. Might even try messing about some of the chrome paints on that to really make it shine like it does in that image. As you can see there, that's the figure itself, but it is one that we have already got in the Black Series line. Then there was the Praetorian Guard. Now this was the last wave of the Black Series that this came out in, so didn't see huge amount of widespread release, certainly not over here in the UK. So this is another good chance for collectors to get hold of this figure. Does look like they've done a little bit of photoshopping on the background there to get this specific guard. I always prefer it when they do use a still from the movie, but it is what it is, and yeah, it's still one that I'll pick up carded. There's an image of the figure just to give you a taste of what it's like. I have found on mine actually that the thumbs on these are a little bit thin. Potentially that's going to be something that will break off over time with some of these figures, so do take care if you are an opener. The next thing from Yakways was actually that they had identified some potential new figures. Now, do close your eyes and avert your ears. This may be some spoiler stuff, but again, they are just code names, so it is just speculation. So the theories are that London Episode 9 is going to be a Rey character. English Rey kind of makes sense on that. Hopefully they will actually be releasing these around the same sort of time as Episode 9 comes out, so you've actually got something to buy if you're a super articulated collector in the Vintage Collection line. Now, the Cairo Axa again sort of leans itself to one of the characters that were on a supposed leaked photo, but until we see more, hopefully in the panel later today, we don't know exactly what that one is. Now, Berlin Leader is rumoured to be the Kylo Ren figure. Again, hopefully in a new outfit for Episode 9. Maybe, we don't know yet. Bruges Red and a Bruges Red Rocket. I imagine are two different variants of Stormtrooper that we will see somewhere as part of the film. But again, until we see something, we're not going to know for certain. Maybe we'll get something in a trailer coming up fairly soon. Regarding the original trilogy and the expanded universe, there is a Jawa figure. This would make sense to be released on a Star Wars card back, and I imagine would be one of the Black Series Jawas that we received a couple of years back. Sensible release, one of the 12 backs, definitely good to get into our collections. The Luke Skywalker figure, Yakface have alluded to previously that this would actually be a Yavin Ceremony Luke, again from the Black Series, so a bit of a repack, but on a nice vintage card back. And also the potential that there may be some expanded universe love being shown to the vintage collection line. The Shadow Trooper, now these go back to, I think we got the last one in about 2007, so it's been a little while since we've had one of those. But again, would make a very interesting figure to be put on a vintage collection card back. I'd hope they would use the new Stormtrooper mold though, if they're going to be casting those in black. Now on to the next bit of information from Yakface, and they've managed to get hold of some what they call glam shots of the Wave 7 figures. Now these are Luke Skywalker in his crate outfit. Fantastic looking card back there. Those who have been listening to the channel for a while know I'm not the biggest Last Jedi fan, but this is the effectively look at what you could have won. It's a very nice figure by the looks of things. Excellent detailing on certainly on this carded sample that we're seeing here. So yeah, this is one I will probably be picking up two, one to open, one to keep carded on that. Up next, D2 on a Star Wars card back. Now again, must have for the vintage to modern updates. This is one of the 12 back cards. Not 100% convinced by the choice of figure that they've actually put in this. There are better R2-D2 sculpts about, and it doesn't really reflect the image directly behind it, which is a nice clean R2-D2. Again, I'd have preferred this with a nice shiny dome, but I understand there are some limitations on what they can do with chrome finishing at Hasbro at the moment due to, I think it's the environmental factors that are involved. But yeah, still one that I'm going to be picking up carded. We're also getting the image here of the Imperial Assault Tank Commander. Now, this is exactly the same figure as the driver that we received in the Vintage Collection a couple of waves ago, but with a bit more paint added to it. If you've got the Imperial Hover Tank, you're going to need this figure as well, just to put in there. It will really set it off. So, yep, for me, this is one carded, one to open as well. Definite pickup there. And rounding out this wave is the Death Star Gunner. Now this is on a Rogue One card back, and there's a little bit of discrepancies between what a gunner looks like. There were slightly different variances to the armor in what we saw in Return of the Jedi to what we saw in Star Wars, and this one is sort of somewhere in the middle again. It's a little bit different. Looks like a nice figure, plenty of articulation in there. One that I will be, again, getting one to open, one to keep carded, and we'll have to see. Bosk's Bounty actually highlighted that it looks like his head is a little bit shrunken into the body there, certainly when you compare it to the image directly next to it. Once it's out of the box, we'll have to see what happens with that. And the other part with the Yakface is the Black Series. They've got a breakdown of Wave 21, so we're getting two Obi-Wan Kenobi figures. This is the same figure as is the Celebration exclusive Obi-Wan, but obviously in the regular Black Series packaging. Also getting two Chopper figures. I think that's the only figure I'm really going to be picking up from this wave is the Chopper one. Looks like a nice figure. One Ezra Bridger, Dr. Aphra, 000 and BT1. So the last three from the Dr. Aphra series, and of course Ezra Bridger from Rebels. Not convinced by the Ezra Bridger sculpt, but we'll see a couple more details of that a little bit later on. Next up is Fly Guy from flyguy.net, and also his own YouTube channel. Again, I'll leave a link in the description down below for that. He's managed to find some images of the upcoming Black Series Emperor. Now this does indeed look like a very nice figure. You've got the lightning that'll attach to his fingers. Beautifully sculpted throne there to go with the figure. You can see also there's a different head that they've tweaked between the two shots. One that's rather evil and menacing, and the other one that's a bit more placid, should we say. Different set of hands. Again, keeping with these soft goods, and there's your smiling Emperor sat in his throne. So this one looks like it will be an absolutely fantastic figure, due for release in April sort of time, so not too far away, fingers crossed. Maybe we'll see some more of this in the Hasbro panel a little bit later on, but he does look like a lovely figure. Again, it's in that deluxe packaging, so probably going to be around about $40, 40 quid if we're lucky in the UK that'll translate to, but one definitely to keep an eye out for. Now, up next from Fly Guy, he's also at Celebration at the moment, and he managed to get us some lovely shots from the Hasbro booth. Now, here we can see some of the retro collection up on show there, along with the vintage collection down beneath, and the Jabba's Palace playset right on the bottom. Oh, sorry, no, the tank and the skiff just below that on the very bottom there. So lovely little figures in there. There's the box of the Jabba's Palace. I know Bosk's Bounty again has done a review on this set. I can't wait to get hold of one myself. It does look really good and works very well with the magnetic Han Solo carbonite block there that goes with it. Now the vintage collection, this is the retro line. You've got the first image there of a packaged Tarkin. Looks really sharp, even with the distressed card back there. These do look absolutely fantastic, and I have been seeing some reports that the retro sticker that's on the front there, that big massive blob really, is actually removable. So you can take that off and be left with a nice clean card back behind it. I think Hasbro have listened to some of the feedback that was initially coming out from that, because it is rather oversized and yeah, a little bit obscene. But so yeah, that looks like that's going to be removable. Hopefully, again, we'll get some confirmation a little bit later on today. So in the next picture, you got some of the vintage collection figures there. So fingers crossed we'll get some more up close ones of those. Certainly on the Jedi Master Luke, the Death Star Gunner, I'd like a little bit of a closer look at those ones later on. But yeah, they're all nice out on display in the Hasbro booth. A few more of the retro carded figures there. These are definitely a little bit different to the proper Kenner vintage figures. So as far as reproduction wise goes, I don't think we're really going to have too much of a problem distinguishing the two different figures. Once you get them side by side, it looks like they're going to be miles apart. And there we go again, a couple of the loose ones there. Now this is a bit of a shot of the outside of Hasbro's booth. Obviously some of the Black Series imaging, I think that's by Gregory Titus, usually does the imagery on that on Instagram and what have you. Interesting choice of images there. Obviously we've got Storm, we've got Vader, we've got Ben Kenobi, we've got a Sand Person, but we don't have a Bantha. So is that a potential hint to what may be coming up in the Black Series line? We'll have to wait and see. Jedi News are also in attendance at the show, and they got some lovely shots from the Hasbro booth as well. We'll just click into some of these and have a quick look. These are all on their Facebook page, so feel free to go over and have a look there. Now, Hasbro have got a mural going around the outside of their booth and into the booth itself, which actually depict all of the different Black Series figures that they've got from the various different films, and they're all set up in nice little dioramas. So just panning through these images as we go around. Those are some of the figures that we don't really focus on here. The sort of a squishies figures, and those look like some rather new mashable sort of figures there. Again, they're not really my cup of tea, but some of the new stuff that they're showcasing from Hasbro, along with their buildable lightsabers in the bottom case there. Now on the top shelf we've got some of the Resistance figures. I think these are starting to show up in some of the places like Forbidden Planet over here. Still not massive amount to take up. Never know, we might see some Wave 2 figures showcased in the panel. If they are still showing them in the booths, then quite possibly there's a decent chance of that. But as I said before, it's not really my cup of tea, the show, so we'll have to wait and see on those. The Microforce figures here in this shot, obviously the Falcon there does look very nice. Fingers crossed that might be actually something I'll look to pick up. These are some of the 5-point of articulation figures in the bottom here, and also in the top. These are aimed to get kids involved. Again, they link in with the Galaxy Adventures videos that have been showing on YouTube Kids on the Star Wars platform over there. They're nice enough figures, but again, 5POA not really my focus, although they do come with a nice little comic and what have you. couple more of those figures there. You can see the Chewie, Leia and Han on the top, Boba Fett and the Stormtrooper on the bottom, along with their comic books that come with those figures. A couple more, Yoda, Darth Maul. These are all figures that are straight re-releases for the most part. The only difference with some of them is that they've had the Force Link chip taken out, so that they don't interact with the Force Link bracelets and what have you anymore. And yep, just the final ones of these: Vader, Luke and R2 on the top, Kylo Ren and Rey on the bottom. The interesting bit with Rey is obviously the comic and the imaging down there depicts her from Jakku, whereas this one is more the Jedi training sort of version in the actual figure. So a bit of an odd choice there, but that's what they've gone with. Now these are the 6-inch diorama things that I was referring to earlier. You've got the Force Awakens figures at the top and Last Jedi on the bottom. Nice little dioramas. There are obviously other figures available for each film, but these ones seem to work well together as a group. And yeah, I think that's a nice way of displaying them. Certainly worthwhile bearing this in mind if you're a Black Series collector and looking for a different way to display your Black Series figures. Nice display like that works very, very well. These are the ones from Return of the Jedi. They aren't all greatest of figures. These are the ones from Return of the Jedi, and they aren't all the greatest figures. The Luke Jedi figure is not my favourite, and the Biker Scouts, as I've said before, I felt the visors were too wide. But the Lando Calrissian is an absolutely astounding figure. I'm well pleased with the one I picked up in that one. But yeah, again, that's Return of the Jedi. It works quite well. Empire Strikes Back here, you've got all your bounty hunters together. They work brilliantly. And then some of the really nice figures from the Rebel side on the left. And of course, Star Wars A New Hope. Got a nice little Stormtrooper being shot there. I think that's one of their blasted exclusive figures that was at the back, and Tarkin hiding in there. It's a nice set. It works very well, displays very well together like that. And this is how they had them set up, with a nice Imperial background behind them at the booth. Moving on to the prequel sets, and obviously top down, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Moving into some close-ups, you've got Obi-Wan leading the charge with his battalion of clones, Anakin just behind with a couple of 501st up against Grievous and some battle droids. And then for the Attack of the Clones, Mace Windu and Padme Amidala, two of the newer figures facing off against Jango Fett, some battle droids, and also some clones backing up Mace and Padme. And in the top one, back to back, you've got Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan facing off against Maul, surrounded by battle droids. I think that's a really nice piece, and actually I think a lot of collectors won't be able to wait to get hold of the Obi-Wan to go with their Qui-Gon and Maul and do them in those classic poses where Maul's in the middle and you've got the two of them fighting off against him. They should be absolutely fantastic once collectors get their hands on those. Now again, they've also got an overview of the cabinet that's got the vintage styled and vintage collection figures in there. Moving in closer again, you can see the hover tank there with, well, sorry, Imperial Combat Assault Tank. It used to be the hover tank. And the Jabba's skiff. Looking forward to getting my hands on that later in the year. And in the middle there, we've got the new 3-pack of figures, which is the Sergeant Dwalin, Vizam, and, oh crikey, I can't remember the other chap. Verdane, I believe. These are the new ones anyway that we're getting in a 3-pack. Now I have heard that these are actually all coming individually carded. So they'll all be on their own vintage collection card back, but they'll be boxed together. Much like we've got the Han Solo and the Rees inside the Jabba's Palace playset, those will come in boxed together. Hopefully we'll get some confirmation again of that in the Hasbro panel a little bit later on, but they are looking like very nice figures. Scanning up, you can see again there the more of the vintage collection and the retro line. And a bit of a closer shot of Han, Leia and Vader in front of the Escape from the Death Star game. And those ones over that side again, which I did show earlier. So this is the other side of the case where you've got the same figures again as we saw earlier. More of the Black Series stuff, including the archive line and the 2 Celebration exclusives there at the top. So as we punch in, we've got the archive figures and the new, soon-to-be released archive figures, which include Darth Maul, the Biker Scout, within that set, and General Grievous up on the top there, which some people have been having some problems with. I haven't got him. I can't. It isn't fair for me to comment on that. But it still looks like a nice figure. Moving down towards the bottom, you've got some of the slightly older figures, only a couple of waves old though, and also the Force FX lightsabers in the bottom. Sorry, these are the Black Series ones, which are all rather expensive, but do look fantastic. So skipping around, you've got the other side, and they have got some loose images there of the BT1, sorry, 000, and the Dr. Aphra figures that are the part of the new wave, and it looks like the Luke Stormtrooper figure is also taking a tumble. And you've also got the Chopper and Ezra figures on the shelf above. Now, if we just skip through, they've also got some rather large life-size card backs that are around the stands that you can obviously stand in front of and have your picture taken. And oh, yep, here we go, back to a closer view of the 3-pack figures there. The one in the middle, obviously, the brand new one that we haven't seen before. Looking forward to getting my hands on them. And there he is. That's the Chewbacca that needs to be on the Vintage Collection card back. Slick back hair. This is the A New Hope Chewbacca, so looks like they've corrected that for the actual release. And you can see in the background of that image the actual Chewbacca himself on the card back. So yeah, fingers crossed that's the one we'll actually be getting at retail. They're also showcasing the new Stormtrooper loose. It looks like a fantastic figure, along with the Lando there. Plenty of the new stuff in the booth, and hopefully they'll be showing some new stuff actually in the booth once the panel is finished. And that brings us back to the beginning of that set. So the other things that Jedi News have highlighted recently is that actually Alan Tudyk is coming back as K2O in the Cassian Andor live action series. This is a very smart move. I think a lot of people sort of speculated that that might be the case. He was definitely one of my favourite characters in Rogue One, and it also means that we stand a half decent chance of getting a super articulated K2SO on a Vintage Collection cardback. I would be well up for that. So fantastic news for me. I'm really looking forward to this season, more so than The Mandalorian and any of the other bits and pieces coming out at the moment. I think the Cassian series looks like the best new thing that's on the horizon. Speaking of The Mandalorian, there was also a display of the bike, the speeder bike that is apparently going to be shown. Now, this looks like it will make for a fantastic toy, although it does look very reminiscent of the Power of the Force speeder bike, the swoop as it were, that we got back then. Similar sort of shape to it, but it does look absolutely fantastic. And again, this should make for a really good toy once Hasbro get their hands on it. So moving on from Jedi News, I'm going to have a look at For Lom 2 Zuckers. Jake Stevens is in the convention centre, and he's been uploading a couple of bits and pieces to his Instagram account. Now, I did mention that you can stand in front of the cardboard cutouts for a lovely picture. Here we have Jake in his rather retro cardigan there, lovely coffee cup and lanyard accessory set. Looks just like the image on the cardback, I'm sure you'll agree. But these are good, nice, fun images, and they've actually got a chrome finish to them, so I'm not sure if that's potentially a chase line, as somebody did comment to on the comments there, Robert Blake Bundy. Might be something to worth looking out for. Haven't heard anything, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, the other thing that was hinted at is this one here, which is a rather interesting image of an X-Wing fighter against that vintage-style cardback. Now, is this going to be a Kenner-style X-Wing, or is it going to be a Vintage Collection version of the large X-Wing? Only time will tell, but either way, both of them are quite exciting for me to be looking out for. He's also managed to pick himself up and I am 3PO, which is a bit of a custom job on that, but nice fun one nonetheless. And also a close-up look of a couple of the exclusive Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul from Celebration there. Now the Darth Maul, I did see somebody ask, it does come with the second head, but it's just tucked in behind the 20th anniversary logo at the bottom there. So you're not missing out on anything if you are getting that figure. Now, sticking on with Instagram, I'm going to head over to Fantha Tracks. There's quite a lot of them over there at the moment. The team from the UK, and they've been getting some various bits and pieces. So this is something that obviously we're looking forward to a little bit later on today, 4 o'clock, and I can't wait to see what is revealed. So that's 4 o'clock US time. I think here in the UK we're about 6 hours ahead. So the Hasbro panel for us is going to be about 10 p.m. I'm going to be looking forward to that. And just to give you an idea of some of the prices of the stuff at the convention. So vintage collection figures are about 14 quid. Those are the ones, sorry, $14. Those are the ones with the photoreal technology. The assault tank 88, and some of the Black Series figures over this side. Those are your exclusives at the top there for 28, and then the others all 22 a piece. Grievous 33. Emphasis on a swoop by 66, and the Imperial Shock Trooper helmet is $110 there. So the Imperial Shock Trooper helmet, I think that's the Black Series red and white one, but I'm not certain on that. So yeah, so some interesting prices up there, but it is one of those. It is what it is. So yeah, do head over to the Fantha Tracks Instagram feed to have a look at what they've got to show, as well as Jake Stevens' Fall On to Zuckus. Okay, so taking a look at what Jedi Temple Archives are up to, and they are at the show. They have got some giveaways as well. Worth heading over to their booth. That's it, they're by the Diorama Builders booth, and they're giving away these large-scale card backs. These are about the size of a postcard, and they continue the line from some of the ones that they've had previously. There is a chase version for each card, so if we've just had a look at those ones there. Greedo and Hammerhead on the first day. Snaggletooth and Walrus Man on the second day. And again, the chase one there as well. Moving across onto Saturday, and you're looking at X-Wing Luke and the R5D4, along with a chase Luke with a Power of the Force 2 coin. And if we move across, we can see Death Star Droid and the Power Droid on the Sunday. And it also looks like there's a Boba Fett one available. That's from a slightly different location. Still worth trying to track that one down as the chase. And if we move across to the final day, it's Boba Fett again on there. So Diorama Builders one for the standard, and the Return of the Jedi alternate card art for the second one. Now, if anybody is heading over there for the show and are able to pick up those for me, I would be most grateful. Jedi News are also doing a set of coasters, beer mats as it were, and again these are available, slightly different ones on each day, so worth tracking those down if you're heading over there. Now, they've also said that apparently there is a new TIE Fighter sized TVC vehicle coming. What this would mean is something in the region of about $90, similar sort of scale to that. Could be an X-Wing fighter, maybe like something we were alluding to earlier. Maybe we'll get some more details about that a little bit later on today. There was also an image that surfaced of a lot of Katana sail barges that are actually shipped to Celebration. This caused a little bit of a controversy in that there was a lot of people thinking that these were going to be for sale there outside of the HasLab promotion and the eBay international availability. It looks like there is word now that those are not going to be for sale at the show. They are just in fact different products inside of those boxes. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe they're doing some sort of a giveaway there, Hasbro, some sort of promotional thing where they've got their own little subsection there to make a couple of people happy. Then maybe doing something with them at the panel. Who knows? But we'll have to wait and see on that. But this is where I was saying about it looks like it is a sticker, and you can quite clearly see on this image here that there is a definite lip around the edge of the sticker to make it seem like that could be peeled off. Much better than having it printed into the card back. So good to see that Hasbro are actually listening to the fan base on that one. They're also hinting that, obviously with the return of the Clone Wars on the Disney streaming app, that we're going to be getting some new figures in both the Vintage Collection and the Black Series. Hopefully we'll get some of that in the presentation later today. Maybe it'll be announced during the Return of the Clone Wars panel a little later on in the weekend. We'll have to wait and see on those. And this is also where I heard the confirmation that the skiff guards are going to be coming carded separately. Fingers crossed, like I say, we'll get a bit more confirmation of that in the panel. And that's the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow with all the catch up from day 2 of the show, which includes stuff from the Hasbro panel, all the little bits of information from the episode 9 panel. So any new characters and bits and pieces we see there that we think would make for really good toys, we'll be talking about those. And yeah, do follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Any sort of information we get throughout the day, we will be tweeting, posting images of there to make sure that you can get hold of those. So like I say, follow us on those. Both of those are at Toys of the Jedi, and make sure you give us a follow on there. If you are new to the channel, do make sure you subscribe and then hit the notification bell to make sure that you get a little alert anytime that we do post a new video. And yeah, thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and until next time.